Hello FPL managers, yes, we're back again with another video for the Fantasy Premier League 2022-23 season. We got a video suggestion from one of our subscribers. He wanted us to make a draft of the best 15 players who are not in the big six. So that's players outside the Manchester City, Manchester United, Liverpool, Spurs, Arsenal, Chelsea. So that's what we're going to be doing today, and as a criteria for building this draft, we are going to go with the players who made the most points for each position, and then look at the ease of the upcoming fixtures for this season. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and build that team and then try and take out any players who might not still be at their clubs or who might be injured for one reason or the other. So let's go ahead and do just that. Okay, so the highest scoring goalkeepers from last season were Jose Sa and Fabianski. Jose Sa has a very high points per 90 minutes from last season. That's about 4 points for every 90 minutes he played. That's 4 FPL points. So that's quite high, and that's a lot more than you find for someone like Ramsdale or someone like Mendy, who are both priced at 5 million this season. So if you're looking for value for money based on last season's stats, then Jose Sa is the guy to go for. But there is actually another player who had even higher points per 90 minutes than even Jose Sa and even Fabianski. He's Vincent Guaita of Crystal Palace. He didn't play every game. I think in some games he was replaced by Jack Butland, but for every 19 minutes he had slightly higher points than Jose Sa, and that's 4.03. So if you're going with that, then Fabianski is going to step out and Guaita is going to come in. So our goalkeeper pick for this draft is going to be Jose Sa at 5 million and Vincent Guaita at 4.5. So I usually like to go into the season with not more than 9 million for my goalkeepers, but if you have enough funds to spare, and for this draft we are going with players outside the top 6, so we will have enough funds for the rest of the squad. So we're going to go with Jose Sa and Vincent Guaita. Now for the starting goalkeeper, we're going to go with Jose Sa. He's got Leeds away and then Fulham at home, Tottenham away and then Newcastle at home. And if you compare that to Guaita, he's got Arsenal at home, Liverpool away, Aston Villa at home, and then Manchester City away. So it's really clear who has the easier fixtures, and we're going to go with Jose Sa. As for our defense, the highest scoring defenders from last season, the top 5 were Matty Cash, Connor Cody, Cucurella, Anderson and Guehi, both from Crystal Palace. And like we said, Crystal Palace have some very tough opening fixtures, so we would want to take them out. And as well as Cucurella, he might be moving to Manchester City. There's a lot of rumors suggesting that he's going to be their new left back, so we're going to stay safe and take him off as well. So the next 3 defenders to fill these empty slots would be Janssen of Brentford, Mings of Aston Villa, and Cresswell of West Ham. So these are some very good defenders, especially the fullbacks Matty Cash and Cresswell, who have some attacking potential in them. So if you're going to go with 3 at the back, you might as well go with Cash, Cresswell and Mings. These are really good defenders, although they might not be as good as your Trents, Robertsons and James, but you can definitely have faith in them that they can bring you points every game. But there is a player I would like you guys to keep an eye on. He's a player from Chelsea, a top 6 defender who seems to have a lot of points per 90. For every game he features in, he gets in a lot of points. In fact, last season the only defenders who got more points per 90 were James Robertson and Alexander Arnold, and that player is Trevor Chalobah of Chelsea. For every 90 minutes he had 6.15, and that's higher than Stones, that's higher than Cancelo, that's higher than Matip, that's higher than Diaz of Man City. So that's a player you might want to keep an eye on for this pre-season friendlies. If it looks like he's about to nail down a place for Chelsea for these starting games, if he looks like he's gotten Tuchel's fate that he can hold down that defensive spot now that they have a lot of defenders out of that team, then you might want to get him in. He costs £5 million right now, and he could go higher if he starts games for Chelsea in the beginning of the season, and you don't want to miss out on those price rises. So that's just a side note. Of course, he's a top 6 defender, so he doesn't fit this draft. As for our midfield, the highest scoring midfielders from last season were Bowen, Maddison, Ward-Prowse, Zaha, and Rafinha. And like we said, Crystal Palace have a very tough opening fixtures, so we can of course take off Zaha, and Rafinha is moving to Barcelona, so he wouldn't be here next season, so we can take him off as well, and we can replace them both with the 2 best or highest scoring midfielders from last season, and that would be Trossard and Benrahma. We've already selected Cresswell, we've already selected Bowen. We do have Antonio in this draft, spoiler alert, so we may want to take off Benrahma as well and bring in Barnes to fill in the gap. So we would have a midfield of Bowen, Maddison, Ward-Prowse, Trossard, and Barnes. So if you look at the list of midfielders with the highest FPL points per 90 minutes, you would notice high up on the list is Mahrez. The only player who scored higher than him was Salah. So Mahrez is someone that you might want to keep an eye on for this preseason. But as for players outside of the top 6, of course, Maddison ranks very high. He's just 8 million. So he's someone that you may want to consider, especially as your opening fixtures might not be too tough for Maddison. There's some fixtures there you might not be too sure of, but Maddison is someone you can trust. Another who is very high on that list is Yohan Wissa of Brentford. He's 5.5 million, and he might be an alternative to Pedro Neto of Wolves. I see a lot of drafts with Neto on them, but if you keep an eye on Wissa, and he looks like he's nailed down a spot in that Brentford attack, then he's someone you might want to go for. He's been reclassified as a midfielder this season. He was a forward last season, so that's even more incentive for you to go for him. But as a con, his numbers were affected by the presence of Eriksen, and Eriksen isn't there anymore. He's moving to Manchester United. So the Brentford attacking assets are players you might want to just put in your watch list and watch for a while and see if they're really doing so well. Their opening fixtures are quite good. They start off away to Leicester and then at home to Manchester United, and then they've got 4 good fixtures in Fulham, Everton, Crystal Palace, and Leeds. So Brentford is a team you might want to keep an eye on, and if they're doing really well, their players might come in really handy. Okay, so that's the midfield spots. As for our forward line, the highest scoring non-big 6 forwards were Ivan Toney, Antonio, and Jamie Vardy. Jamie Vardy is 35 years old and still keeps getting those goals. In fact, last season he had the highest points per 90 for non-top 6 forwards, so that's really high. 6.63 every 90 minutes. That's a lot of FPL points. If he keeps getting in the goals, then he should be in our teams. But age will definitely eventually catch up with Jamie Vardy, and if it does this season, you might want to look for an alternative. And what better alternative than one who is already in that Leicester City team? Kelechi Iheanacho is very highly rated, and he ranks very high on this list of forwards who have the highest points per 90. So he has 5.72. That's higher than Havertz, that's higher than Kane. So that should let you know that he's someone that gets in a lot of FPL points. If he takes over Jamie Vardy's spot in that team, he might be someone who might come in very, very handy. At 6.5 million, he will be a very good asset to have. So these are the highest scoring forwards. And if it turns out that you don't want Antonio in your team, you prefer Benrahma, or you think Tony is going to be affected by Eriksen's absence. You can, of course, bring in Watkins in place of Antonio or Tony to fill up the gaps. Okay, so this is the team we're going with. This is the best team that I could come up with using that criteria. We have Jose Sa and Guaita in goal. In defense, we have Cash, Cody, Janssen, Mings, and Cresswell. In midfield, we have Bowen, Madison, Ward-Prowse, Trossard, and Barnes. And our forward line consists of Antonio, Tony, and Vardy, plus or minus Watkins, of course. I hope this was helpful to someone out there as you build your final draft for game week 1. Don't forget to check out the preseason friendlies. I think Spurs have a game right now. In fact, Kane and Son have both scored braces. So the friendlies would help you know how teams are lining up, who might get injured, and that might help you with your final squad. Okay, if that's gonna be all there's left to do is to wish you guys good luck, have fun, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.